So guys, everything is ready. So the floor is yours. 2 minutes to go.
Thanks, George. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Hive webinar student series. We're so excited about today's session and glad to have all of you on the call with us today. Whether you're joining us via Facebook or you're joining us here on Zoom, I just want to welcome you all. And so these webinars, like I said already, are a student series within the Bongo Hive webinar series that we host. And they're held under one of our programs, which is Bongo Hive X. And Bongo Hive X exists to implement and support student-led innovation within Zambia and across the region. And so these webinars that we host exist to support students as they think through innovating, as they think through being entrepreneurs. And so I'm excited today to have Kamota Mayondi with us, who is a yoga instructor. And Kamota is going to be taking us through incorporating mindfulness and wellness in our sessions today. So I'm just going to talk through who she is and what the session today is going to be about. So today's event promotes mindfulness, like I said, and wellness practices for individuals as well as teams. So you might be a student that has just started a business, and maybe you're working with somebody else that's also a student or isn't, and you're building your team slowly, or you're working alone as a single founder within your business. So how can you be more mindful, and how can you incorporate wellness into your routine, right? It focuses on the importance of breath work, movement, and how intentionally slowing down can reduce anxiety and stress, as well as dispel the myths that we have that the only way to get anything done is in a state of panic. I know this from experience as a student and in having conversations with some of you that are students, just the amount of time, crash coursing and making sure you get things done in quite a panic. And in our past webinars, some of you had talked about having anxiety around doing your research, doing your work, growing your business. And even now in times of COVID and times of crisis, anxiety is heightened. And so this session is just going to take us through how we can incorporate more mindfulness. And to do that with us, we have Kamota Mayondi. Kamota is a news presenter and a business owner who has a passion for health and wellness. And this led her then to found Mayondi Wellness. It incorporates mindfulness and yoga practice and teaches yoga to the individual as well as corporate clients. So we're quite privileged to have her here today speaking to our student community. And she attributes yoga to help her find a balance, and it has helped her to find a balance between working in broadcasting and while still being an active member and teacher to the growing yoga community in Zambia. I've always thought that Kamota is quite a special individual, having volunteered with her as part of the Lusaka Global Shapers community. And just it's watching her evolve as an individual and watching her incorporate wellness and things like that. And so I'm quite excited to have her here with us today. I hope that all of you will engage. All of you will ask the questions that you have around your anxiety and how do you find the time to incorporate wellness and what does wellness even mean? So please chat with us, put all your comments down, all your thoughts down within the comments section. Do that also if you're joining us on Facebook Live. We have a team that's ready on standby to take your questions and share them with Kamota as well. So please engage with us. Use the hashtag BHX Student Series so we know exactly what you're thinking about during these sessions, and also what you'd like to see coming up. So I'll hand over now to Kamota. Kamota, we're so excited to have you. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today.
Thank you. All right, so I'll take it over. Thank you so much, Sakai. That was a lovely introduction. And I'm so excited to present this webinar. The student series has been amazing. I've caught some past episodes of it. So to begin, I don't think I have to say much. Sakai did a fantastic job at introducing who I am and what I do. So today I'm speaking to you in my capacity as a yoga instructor, and we are talking about incorporating mindfulness and wellness into your daily routine. So the first thing I'd like us to do before we get down to our session is if you could please, on a piece of paper, write down how you feel right now. And so you could put down 3 words. Do you feel happy? Do you feel stressed? Do you feel sad? Or you could put a sentence down to describe the general feeling of how you are feeling at the moment. So everything is valid: happiness, sadness, stress, frustration, irritability. So those are just some pointers of what you could put down. So I'll give you about 30. So you don't need to share this. This is just private. You can put it down on your phone, in your notes, on a piece of paper. So I'll give you about 30 seconds to get down to do that as we start our conversation on incorporating mindfulness and wellness into your daily routine. So I trust that we've all written down how we are feeling. I will also write down how I feel real quickly. All right. So a lot of us are wondering, first let's get into the discussion points. So we're going to look at what wellness is. After we look at what wellness is, I'll break down the conversation into the pillars of wellness, because wellness is holistic. It just doesn't focus on one thing. And because I'm a yoga instructor, I'll drill down the conversation to physical wellness, because yoga is pretty much a physical activity. And we'll also look at other ways that we can be active and maintain our physical wellness. And then we'll get into a small group activity, followed by how we can incorporate mindfulness in our daily routine, how to promote mindfulness. This is within our schools, within our communities, within our startups. A lot of you are student entrepreneurs, so you are either founders, co-founders, and that type of thing. And to close, I'll teach breathwork techniques that will help us manage our stress and our anxiety. So getting into it, I'll define wellness. So wellness might be new to you depending on whether or not you've come across it, but generally the world is moving towards a very health conscious, a very holistic approach to how we go about living. So according to the World Health Organization, wellness is the state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmities. So we want to keep in mind it's holistic. We're looking at the physical, we're looking at the mental, as well as the social aspect of well-being. So wellness is in different pillars. You have emotional wellness, you have financial wellness. Are things okay with you when it comes to your finances? Social wellness, how are you interacting with people around you? Spiritual wellness, as well as occupational wellness. This has to do with things like work and that type of thing. Environmental wellness, how is the environment that you find yourself supporting you to be well? So this is like whether it's your home space, this is whether it's your workspace, your college space. And getting down to physical wellness, which is something that I said I would speak on because I'm a yoga instructor. So talking about physical wellness, there are several components of physical wellness. There's sleep, there's food, there's hygiene, there's relaxation, and physical activity. So I'd like to pose a question to you real quickly. How many hours of sleep are you getting? So I'll give you about 30 seconds to just feedback on that. How many hours of sleep are you getting? So Sakai, do we have some feedback?
Yes, so we're starting to get feedback. So Susanna says that she gets 4 hours of sleep. Chansansa says she gets 6 hours of sleep. Guys, keep those hours coming. Let us know how many hours of sleep you get every night. Yoko says 6.5 hours.
Okay.
Tuku Pasha says, I get 7 hours of sleep. Karen Oniza says about 67 hours.
Okay.
Rhoda says that she's getting 7 hours of sleep.
Okay, so I'm quite impressed with the numbers, except for Susanna, who's only getting 4 hours of sleep. So the recommended hours of sleep that you need to get to be physically well is around 8 hours. You want to work at getting around 8 hours of sleep. So it's important to have good quality sleep because the body does need to recuperate, the body does need to slow down and rest. And for students like yourself or entrepreneurs, sometimes I remember as a student, you might want to cram the whole night and want to get into an exam hall the next day on little sleep. But did you know that the brain actually needs sleep to process new information? So it's important to work at getting 8 hours of sleep a day. If you can, 8 hours of sleep. So Susanna, you really need to try, and you're doing like 50% of the ideal time of sleep you should have. 6.5 to 6 and 7, that's really quite good, but try and get at least 8 hours of sleep to fully allow your body to recuperate and just reboot. An example that I'd like to give when it comes to the body and sleep. Sometimes a lot of us tend to run our computer or our laptop without having shut it down in a couple of days. And there reaches that point where your laptop literally is begging you to shut it down and just give it a bit of a reboot. So if even a computer or a laptop needs time to just restart and sleep or shut down, it's extremely important for the human body to do the same. So rest, adequate rest, is extremely important to support your general well-being, especially your physical wellness. The next aspect we're going to look at with regard to physical wellness is food. The body is in essence a machine, and what we feed it is the energy from which we produce. That's what makes us able to get by. So a lot of us tend to, especially when we are stressed, to lean towards eating more unhealthy food. So this is super greasy food, this is junk food, which in themselves are not the best type of food to eat. It's important for me to just let you know how there's a different type of energy that each type of food carries. So for example, if you're loading yourself with lots of junk food and lots of sweets, you might want to observe sometimes after eating a really greasy meal, and this is not like food guilt, you just feel very heavy and very down. So when you compare how you feel when you've had a really unhealthy meal as opposed to when you eat a really good balanced meal with lots of greens, lots of vegetables, you're able to tell the difference in the energy levels within your body. So another aspect of physical wellness is food, the quality of the food that you're eating. Is it good food? What type of energy does the food that you're eating give you? So you might want to lean towards having healthier meals as they generally improve the way that your physical wellness, they generally support better physical wellness. And now when it comes to hygiene, I think it's not always very obvious that hygiene is an important part of physical wellness. And I think a perfect example to give right now, as we are currently living through the COVID-19 pandemic, and some of the guidelines that have been given by the World Health Organization and have been followed through by the Zambian government is keep your hands clean. You want to sanitize your hands. You want to make sure that you wash your hands to prevent contamination. So that is an aspect of physical wellness, because simply by keeping our hands cleaner, we are lowering our chances of contamination. If we touch our face, we touch our eyes, or if we're eating, we're definitely lowering the chances of us having picked up the coronavirus. So that's a great example of how hygiene supports your physical wellness. So you're keeping away certain bacteria or germs that will get into your body and cause you to get sick. So that's one aspect of it. The next aspect of physical wellness is relaxation. A lot of us tend to not take time to relax. And as we get down into our conversation, we're going to look at ways in which we can incorporate these aspects like sleep, food, the type of hygiene practices and relaxation that we have. So what exactly do we mean by relaxation? So relaxation is simply that active, like a conscious, deliberate thought to just take a chill pill, just slow down and actually allow your body and your mind to relax. So there's different types of ways to relax, and it's important to slow down when you relax. I really don't always feel like, for example, watching TV is necessarily relaxing. It can be in part, but sometimes it's important to just log out of everything, switch off that TV, put that phone away, and simply slow down, sit down, and literally just allow yourself to just be in the moment. Which brings us to the next aspect of physical wellness, which is physical activity, which I'll expand on as I am a yoga instructor and I absolutely love to be physically active. And so the first thing that we're going to do is to move our bodies. So wherever you are, I hope you're in a space where people will not look at you funny for the next bit of activity that we're going to do. I'd like us to please stand. So I hope that you can still see me. Can you still see me? And I just want us to, I hope you can hear me. I just want you to jump around. We're going to jump around for about 10 seconds. Let's just jump. Okay, and now we're going to do something that most of us did as kids. It might be funny, but we're going to do it anyway. So if you can sing along. Remember, head and shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Head and shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Okay, we won't touch our eyes, but add eyes and ears and mouth and nose. Head and shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. And jump up and down some more and spin around. And touch your toes, touch your knees, touch your shoulders, touch your toes, touch your knees. Give a body roll if you can. Just move. Just move. All right, and let's get back down to business. Okay.
I joined you, Kamota, just so you know.
I call you. Thank you. You're a great support. I'm actually a bit breathless. Okay, so now that we've moved around, I would like us to get back to our notes. We had little pieces of paper down. So if you were taking notes on your phone, I want you to write 3 words now, how you feel after moving about. So how do you feel? So just let me know. And through Sakai, I would like you to just share a comparison between what you felt initially and what you feel now. So just a comparison, if like 3-4 people could please share.
On the comments.
Uh-huh.
Karen says, thank you, Karen. Guys, please let us know how you're feeling. So Kamota wants to know, you wrote down how you were feeling once you joined the webinar. Now we've jumped around, we've done heads, shoulders, knees, and toes. What's the difference? Are you feeling any different now? Karen says, my mind feels more open. It was clogged in the beginning.
Okay.
Chansansa says, I felt very laid back and now I feel more energized.
Okay.
Rhoda says, I feel energetic, live, and happy. Before I felt downcast and unmotivated. Susanna says, I feel energized. If you're joining via Facebook Live, please put in the comments and we can share your thoughts and what the difference has been with Kamota.
Okay,
Nisa says, I felt quite anxious before, but now I feel calm.
Calm. So fantastic. Yes. So from that little exercise that we've done, we've had a total shift in the way that our disposition was. So I'll share, when I just started, honestly, I was feeling very panicky. I'm like, okay, I'm doing this webinar. So I was feeling a little bit nervous. But after jumping around, I feel happy and jovial. So someone else said that their disposition changed. They feel happier. Someone was feeling like myself, a bit more anxious. They feel calm. Someone feels their mind is more open. Someone else shared how, the two people shared how they feel energized. And this is just a practical example of literally how it's important to be physically active. So we started, some of us were feeling a little bit heavier, a little bit downcast. But just engaging in that playful movement has totally changed our disposition from when we started to now. So there are different types of activities that you can engage and do to help you just generally have that shift. So types of activities you can do. Of course, I'm a yoga instructor. I would definitely advocate for yoga. Yoga is something that you could do. If you can't do yoga, you could consider going to a gym. You could consider walking. You could consider running and dancing, like actually dancing. Just dance, like whether you're dancing for fitness or dancing just to move your body. There's just something very magical about the way movement changes our disposition. So some of the benefits of getting involved in physical activities, like we have just experienced, a lot of us have seen the sort of link between physical, emotional, and mental. So we've moved from, for example, feeling very down to happy. So when you get involved in physical activity and exercise, your body releases happy hormones, and that way you are promoting your mental health as well. So benefits of physical activity and movement have you promoting your mental health. You get your heart rate a little bit up, and that way you're promoting a strong and healthy heart. You're able to maintain your weight, and just being active is so beneficial to your holistic well-being. And so now we move on to another aspect. We've talked a lot about what it is that we could do, what type of that we've experienced the benefit of physical activity. Now the question is, how do we incorporate all these aspects into our everyday life? So I'll pose another question. How many of us feel like we don't quite find the time? Yes, I'd like to be physically active. Yes, I'd like to get better sleep. But how many of us feel that we are just not getting the time? So Sakai, do let me know what contributions that we have, and we can move from that. So what are you guys struggling with? How are you finding time? Can you find time? Do you even have the time?
Like we keep saying, share your thoughts with us. How many are finding it difficult, or generally find it difficult to be active, to be physically active, to move during a single day, to relax? Share your thoughts with us. Again, if you're joining us via Facebook Live, please share your thoughts with us in the comments, and those will be shared with Kamota.
And hello to everyone on Facebook Live. Yeah.
So Mwelwa says, I feel that way 100%. So Mwelwa says that they find it difficult to find time in the day to relax or be physically active. Right. Anybody else who says like, I'm doing okay, I'm doing like 50-50, I've carved out some time in the day to be active? Share your thoughts with us. I'd like to say I find it quite difficult.
You do?
I think.
Yeah, that's
cool. I think I'll set some time. Yeah, I'll set some time today and be like, tomorrow I'll start. It's going to happen.
It can be challenging. It can be challenging. Okay, so we'll take it from your contribution. We have one more.
We have two. Yes, we have two more. Chansansa says, I am active most of the time. However, I tend to be lazy if I wake up after 8 a.m. Karen says, I think my problem is consistency. I start but don't finish whatever challenge I embark on.
Okay. All right. So thank you for those contributions. So we have people who are
We have
trying
one
to.
more.
Okay.
We have one more from Mwelo. Mwelo says, no time in the morning because I love to sleep. I have to work during the day and plan to do something in the afternoon. Then I can't find my sports bra and it's over.
That's an interesting
I feel you,
contribution.
Mwelo.
Yeah, okay, that's definitely that happens where you start with something but you fall off along the way because you're not very consistent. And clearly, I think Mwadwa is passionate about getting her 8 to 9 hours of sleep over there. So, how do we find time to incorporate wellness in our daily routine? Which brings me to the next aspect of depending on I'll give a past experience I had. So before I became a yoga instructor, I worked as an auditor. And if you're familiar with the way that audit works, auditors charge billable hours. So you have to account for every hour that you have worked on a particular client and give it detail what it is you did in that particular hour. So an important aspect of helping us find out where all our time goes is to do a simple timesheet exercise. So in audit, you keep a timesheet where you literally record if you are at client X looking at fixed assets for 3 hours, you record that on Monday between 10 and 11. This is what you were doing on Tuesday between that way. So I hope you can see this little timesheet log. So if you're students, you can see there's activities, there's days of the week, you have class hours, you have study, you have sleep, you have meals, exercise, family, social media, or internet. So this particular tool is a great way to monitor how you're spending your day. And it's a great way for you to adjust your time slots to find where it is that you're spending too much time or not enough time. When I did this exercise about a year and a half ago, I found that I had so much idle time as well as spending far too much time on social media. So this particular template is from the Oregon State University. So at the end of this, I'll share where you can find it. So there are plenty free resources on the internet where you can find a simple timesheet log and you can customize it if certain things don't apply to your life, whether it's commuting or whether it's social media or TV. You can just add little activities that are specific to the type of life that you currently lead. So that way we'll be able to then say, okay, for example, if you're not sleeping enough, you'll find there's somewhere where the hours that, for example, could be going to sleep are going to, for example, are you spending too much time watching TV and movies? Are you spending a bit too much time on a commute? So that way you are able to specifically look at areas in your life that you could promote wellness by adjusting accordingly. So is it food? Do you need to, are you spending far too much time preparing your food or far too much time eating your food? Are you spending too little time with your family? And if you look at this particular activity, you can almost pinpoint aspects back to the wellness pillars where there's aspects of environmental wellness, for example, spending time with family or friends, that's an aspect of social well-being. So it also does come to show us how these things are pretty much full circle. So we'll move on from that particular one, which brings me now into mindfulness. As we know, we're looking at incorporating wellness and mindfulness into our daily routine. So when we think of mindfulness, a lot of it's quite a new term. I'm not so sure if a lot of people have thought about it or think about it. So mindfulness is simply the act of recognizing what's going on within us and what's going on around us. So to start with, I'll just like you to wherever you're seated, if you have a view of outside, just currently, if you could just look outside and just really pay attention. Look at the grass, look at the trees, and then just tell me how you feel after really paying attention to the surrounding. Just look at things, look at the sky, look at the grass, look at the trees, whether it's buildings that you can see, just really take your awareness to taking in that moment. And so when you pay attention and when you do things with a certain amount of awareness, I feel like things become richer. So you might find you're like, oh, okay, the grass is actually very green. The trees are actually really, really beautiful. So you can just let me know, how did it feel to pay attention, to really, really pay attention to your surroundings?
I think I'll go while we wait for people to let
Okay,
us know
sure.
how it feels.
Please do.
Oh, Rhoda says it's refreshing to look at the nature around.
Right.
Yeah.
Someone said it's refreshing. Okay.
Yes.
What else? Do we have any other contributions?
Please share with us, guys, even if you're not looking at nature right now, if there's
Okay,
anything around you. Yeah.
okay, or we could do something different. So I'd
Uh-huh.
like anyone to right now just by like tell me what color are my fingernails? They're painted a color. Who can tell me what color are my fingernails? Do we have any
Oh,
takers?
before we get into that one, guys, guess. Okay, I see some responses. But
Okay.
Chansansa says, it made me feel, after looking outside and looking at her surroundings, it made me feel happy because I saw a donkey shaped out of a cloud. Um,
Nice.
yeah. Tukupasha says, your nails are blue.
Okay, okay, fantastic. So Tukupasha, thank you so much. So usually we find that Tukupasha, you pay attention. So when we come to mindfulness, and I'm glad that you could like actually remember the fact that my nails are blue. A lot of us go through life absent-minded. There's like people you could literally ask for 1 minute after that you have just done this and like what color, and they didn't pay attention. So a lot of us go through life more absent-minded than not. We don't take that moment to actually take in our environment, take in what's going on within ourselves. So when it also comes to being aware of what's going on within yourself, mindfulness helps us. For example, how many of us at the start of the webinar actually like knew that, okay, I think I'm not feeling that happy? How many of us were actually aware of the fact that, okay, maybe I'm feeling a little bit anxious? So mindfulness really helps us introspect and look into ourselves, as well as look outside to our surroundings and relate on a different level to what's going on around us. So mindfulness in everyday life comes down to two things: attention and curiosity. So noticing things is about paying attention, and delving a little bit deeper is about curiosity. So it's important to approach our life and everyday, like whether it's your school, whether it's your businesses, with a certain amount of attention as well as curiosity, to bring a higher level of awareness into the space that we find ourselves in. So when it comes to mindfulness, and not that absent-mindedness is the opposite of mindfulness, but it's important to always remember just to bring your presence into every situation. Like bring all your five senses. I think it may seem like, okay, this is a bit too much. Do I have to bring my sound, my sight, my taste, my smell into a boardroom, into a classroom? But it's really important to be extremely mindful and present. Did you know, and this is an actual statistic, that majority of road traffic accidents are caused by absent-mindedness? So if we were more mindful and aware of what we are doing, too many of us are doing a lot of things on autopilot. So for example, it can be from taking a walk, like where you're just going about it robotically. And say most of you are in university. So I'll give an example. If you are, say, at the University of Zambia and you decide to take a walk to Manda Hill or to East Park, most of us would literally just remember that now we're at East Park or now we're at Manda Hill without having been aware as we were walking, whether it's the sights, the smells, the sounds. We literally go through life on autopilot. So mindfulness, which is bringing our awareness into ourselves and into our surroundings, helps us not only relate to other people and other things better, but also stay safe in part. So attention and curiosity, extremely important. So before we get into the next slide, how could we incorporate mindfulness in our organizations and for you guys who are entrepreneurs and students, it's all about what type of culture do you want to cultivate in the environment or in the workspaces that you're creating. So mindfulness helps us do that. So it can be simply by being more attentive in meetings, listening to cues to understand like, oh, okay, this person's disposition is that way. Maybe we should do things a little bit differently. So now bringing the conversation together, wellness and mindfulness, how to incorporate them into our everyday life. With mindfulness, it's not a type of thing that you can necessarily block out and schedule. It's a conscious decision to say, I will be more mindful, I will be conscious of how I feel, as well as taking in everything around me with regard to my surroundings. And when it comes to wellness in your everyday life as students, it's important to slow down. An example that I'll give is when I was preparing for this webinar, I was extremely stressed out, and it was an opportunity to practice what I preach. I was in a panic, and I found when I just told myself, sit down, calm down, slow down, and start. Slides will be created one slide at a time. You cannot try to take the overly holistic approach. You know, tasks are done piece by piece. And I found that when I intentionally sat down, said, okay, we have no slides, start creating the slides. Slide number one, this is slide number one, this is slide number two. When we slow down, we're actually able to be more effective, and we're able to do things from a place of calm as opposed to panic, which is generally a place I feel is more beneficial to exist, as opposed to doing things from a frazzled state of being. And I think my slides look quite decent when I found a sense of calm and just went about to getting them done. So doing things from a place of calm. Yes.
We love them, Kamota.
Yes. Okay, which brings us to the final bit of our wellness and mindfulness webinar, breathing. So I am a fan of breathing. Like, I take time in my day when something is happening, I just sit it out and say, okay, now I just need to breathe. So I'll invite you right now to let's just inhale deeply and exhale. And once more, inhale deeply and exhale longer than you inhale. How does that feel? Right? Breathing. So thankfully, breathing is something that happens whether we think about it or not. I definitely know for a fact, no one here is actively right now telling their mind, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. It just happens. With practices such as yoga, which help us bring our breath work into our consciousness, it has beneficial, it's beneficial in helping us relax and calm down. So I'd like to teach a particular breathwork technique called Nadi Shodhana, that's in Sanskrit, but in English it's called alternate nostril breathing. So, fun fact, did you know you breathe only from one nostril at a time? The time that I was doing my teacher training course, I was like, no, really? Do you? So just to prove this, I'll take off my glasses. Just take your index finger, place it under your nose, and exhale. Are you able to tell that there's a nostril where the breath is actually coming out from at the moment? So for me right now, I think the active nostril is my left nostril. What about you, Sakai?
I think that would have to be my right. Although I think I had to concentrate and be like, okay, to notice.
Okay, let's throw it out there. Has anyone picked up the difference that there's an active nostril? It's not both of them.
Have you guys noticed? Chansansa says my left nostril.
Okay, so God in all of his wisdom sort of gave our nostrils shifts, like later in the day, and I think it's almost like they like have a cutoff. You find that you are then moving on to the other nostril. So that's the way that the nostrils work. So with this particular breathwork exercise, we're going to breathe from one nostril, in through one nostril and out the other. So because we are currently living in a corona environment, I'm going to sanitize my hands. If your hands are clean, go ahead and do it, or sanitize if you can, because you'll be bringing your hands to your face. If your hands are not clean, and you think you may have touched dirty surface, definitely sit this one out. But if we're okay, so to do this particular breath work, which is alternate nostril breathing, you can do it seated, so it's a great thing you could do at your desk or wherever. Feet flat on the floor, your feet are in a it's a 40, is it a 90 degree? Okay, now your feet are in a, yeah, angle, 90-degree angle, and you want to be nice and long in the spine, shoulders relaxed. Take your right hand up, and you will take your index finger and middle finger to the middle of your forehead, and you will take your thumb out to the side like this, and you will take your pinky and ring finger to the other side. So take your thumb and block your right nostril. So thumb blocking right nostril, and just move it up and down, open, close, open, close. So I'm just teaching you the motion. Then on the other side, using either just your ring finger or both if you can, whichever feels more easy for you, using your ring finger, close off that left nostril. So now just get the motion. Let's get the motion. Right. So this part of yoga is called pranayama, which is breath work. So these two are on the forehead, and so you can keep your eyes closed just for you to see it. So you can keep your eyes open for you to see it the first time. So blocking off your right nostril, I will ask you to inhale deeply from the left nostril, block left nostril, exhale from the right. Inhale from the right nostril, block right nostril, exhale from the left. So inhale from the left nostril, block left nostril, exhale from the right. So now that you've got that motion, I'll ask you to close your eyes and begin to breathe in that manner. So we'll do about 45 seconds of this. So close off the eyes, block a nostril, inhale deeply, block that other nostril, exhale. So just keep doing that. Inhale, block off, exhale through the alternate nostril. Inhale through that same nostril, block that nostril, exhale through the other one. So just keep doing that. We'll do it for about 10 more seconds. At your own pace, eyes closed, breathing, being mindful. And now open your eyes and just let me know, how do you feel?
So Rhoda says that she feels sleepy after doing the exercise.
So that's relaxation.
Chansansa says super relaxed and now sleepy. Malwa says slightly lightheaded.
Oh, okay.
So should we be lightheaded?
Malwa, do you have any blood pressure issues? So maybe you are holding the breaths for too long. So try and shorten the breaths.
But Malwa also said earlier that they didn't even know that their left nostril was blocked when we were checking.
Okay, interesting. So
yeah.
So we have felt like, so that particular breath helps you calm down. So it's a very cooling breath. It's a very calming breath. So like you said, like, oh, I feel like sleepy. Well, it's just a relaxation. You've allowed your body to relax into it. So that's a particular technique that you can use if you're feeling a little bit groggy or a little bit nervous or whatever. Just bring yourself to do an alternate nostril breathing exercise. That will really help you if you have stress, if you have anxiety. It really just calms you down. Or just a simple inhale and exhaling breath without any fancy finger work or that type of thing. So breathing is also an important aspect. Well, conscious breathing is an important aspect of promoting our well-being and promoting how we feel. And breathing also helps us to be extremely mindfulness. It supports mindfulness in that you come into yourself and you're very aware as you're breathing and as you're just focusing on your breath. It definitely helps you be more aware. So that's the importance of breath work in your routine. Another aspect you can incorporate for physical well-being and mindfulness is the way that we took time to just take a moment to look outside and um, take nature in. Go outside, take your shoes off, walk on the grass, feel the grass beneath your feet. This might be a weird thing to do depending on where you work and that type of thing. But as entrepreneurs who are creating culture in your businesses, you may find that it's extremely beneficial to say, today we are going to sit outside and work under the trees, or today I'm going to study under the trees. And also, modern day life has us always panicking and moving at a very go, go, go speed, but intentionally choose to slow down. Slowing down helps you be more effective and execute things with as much efficiency and from a place of calm. So, wouldn't you rather get things done from a place of calm as opposed to from a place of panic? And modern day organizations are incorporating wellness and mindfulness into their offices. A lot of people are bringing outside in. You have people who have offices that have green areas just to stimulate that nature type of bond between us. In as much as we are more advanced species, we are still a part of nature. So you may want to have aspects of outside, inside. Have a plant in your room, have a plant in your office if you can, to be active. We sit so much. Modern day life has us really sitting more than not. Have standing desks. So if you're going to do a study session or a revision session, definitely feel your energy levels going down. To go to a higher surface, put your laptop there and do a couple of minutes just from a standing position. You will find that it will definitely help you be more energized and just sitting less. And so, you're more active. Other things to incorporate in your life, or whether it's in your startups or generally for your wellness. Walking meetings, or if you're trying to have a study session or a revision session, I think it might be difficult to study whilst walking. Take your study mates, take a walk around the block and say, okay, let's talk about this particular topic. Well, I'm an accountant, so I'll just say, let's talk about receivables and let's revise how it is that we approach auditing receivables. And you take a walk and talk about it. So there's different ways, fun ways to incorporate wellness into your routine, into your life, whether it's a walking meeting, a standing meeting, or whatever. There's so many ways that you can incorporate these things into your life. And so this brings me to the end of my presentation, and I'm happy to answer questions that you may have at this moment. Over to you, Sakai.
Thank you, Kamota.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation and for engaging us in some exercise and activities. Guys, if you have any questions for Kamota related to her presentation, questions around wellness, mindfulness, breath work, and how you can incorporate all of this, everything that she said, into your routine, whether that is your study routine as you prepare for schoolwork, or whether it's within your different companies as student entrepreneurs, please ask her now. So please share your questions, like I said, either in the Q&A section or in the chat section, and I will share those with Kamota. Rhoda says, thank you so much, Kamota. Please advise us on how to deal with disruptions in sleep. And then Wawa says, that was awesome, Cam, loved it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So please give us some advice on how we can deal with disruptions in sleep. Tukupasha says, thank you. I recently started doing yoga. Which time would you say is best for the exercise? So the two questions are disruptions in sleep, and Tukupasha, who's just started doing yoga, what is the best time for the exercise?
Time. Did she say time?
Yes. What is the best time you would say is best for the exercise?
Okay. All right, so I'll start with the first question, sleep disruptions. So when it comes to sleep, I think in as much as routine can be a bit mundane, we function better when we have a routine. So if it's possible to sleep and wake up at the same time every day, you start to train your body to do that. And so for me, something that I've found is to actually incorporate into my life digital well-being. So digital well-being is something that tech companies also have started considering. For example, most apps and games are designed generally to be addictive. So with me, I've set a wellness. There's a digital wellness feature on my phone, for example, where my phone just shuts down and goes into gray mode. I don't have access to certain social media. I will not get calls. So I think sometimes we find that we're not able to sleep because we're overly stimulated. When our brain is ready, our brain is tired, but there's still so much going on. So with me, I think an hour before bed, start to have like a sort of wind down routine. Like, so is it switching off the phone? Is it actually taking a bath and jumping into bed at a particular time so that if it's 15 minutes of you being in bed, by the time it's hitting the 20th minute, you have fallen asleep. So when it comes to sleep disruptions, try and just how when we were younger, our parents would insist that bedtime is a certain time, do the same thing for yourself as an adult. And this is a bit of a side conversation, but if you could reach out to me, if you don't mind, we could also just look at your mind body type. So each of us have a certain disposition of what exactly encompasses your body, and you'll find that certain people are more active at a certain time. So for me, for example, my mind body type is something called Vata, and I have a sleep window. If I miss that window, if I'm not in bed by 10 p.m., I will go to sleep at 2 a.m. because I just get this creative energy and then I'm up doing nothing constructive. And this is not like I'm up strategizing and thinking of where do I want to take my business? What are my five-year goals? It's just creative energy that's a bit disorganized. So also knowing how you are as a human being, take time to monitor. Am I more productive at this certain time? Am I less productive at this certain time? And try and plan and adjust your life or your work and study according to that. So that's something that could be helpful. I hope that answers it. Next one was about time. So when it comes to time, the best time I think to do exercise, it could be in the morning and slightly before bed. But I think it also feeds back into what I said earlier about it depends on what you're like. Some people are able to get a workout in super early in the morning. Some people, it's just not possible for them, you know. So also don't be too harsh on yourself. What works for you might not work for the next person, and so on and so forth. So I think it's extremely important to factor that in as well.
Thank you.
But just do exercise. That's also it. Just do exercise.
Hey guys, if you've got any more questions, please share them with us. Maretta, if we have questions on Facebook, please share those with us as well. But so far we're seeing thank yous. So yes, Rhoda is saying thank you so much, Kamota, and she wanted to get your contact details. So I've shared your contact details on Twitter as well as Instagram.
Okay,
so Kamota, guys, please feel free to slide into Kamota's DMs if you need to. You have my permission.
Yes.
Karen says, thank you very much. This was very insightful.
Thank you.
I'll wait another minute, and if we don't have any more questions for Kamota, I'll go into closing. But I really appreciated what she said, Kamota, about the mind-body type, which is something we don't really think about, right, or pay close attention to.
Right.
You just suddenly know, like between a certain time, you're just up and active, you know, but not really doing anything constructive. So that's something I also slid into your DMs to figure out like what's my mind body type.
Okay. I look forward to it.
Yeah. Lucy Mary says, thanks a lot, Kamota. Well spoken.
Thank you.
Guys, Kamota, as you can see on your screens, Kamota has shared some resources. So if you would like to log all the different things that you're doing in a day, you can find those. You can find those there. Nisa says, thank you so much. It helped a lot. So thank you, Kamota.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it, and it's always good to learn and share from each other. So I look forward to receiving questions from each of you. You can absolutely slide into my DMs, and I will be sure to give you pointers as well as share resources that could help you, whether you're looking at the time log or you're looking at understanding what your mind body type is like. That way you can support yourself better by knowing also what it is that your body responds to. Why is it that you find it harder to wake up? Why is it that you find it harder to sleep? And then you can tweak your day around to support the way that your body's natural disposition is.
Thanks, Kamota. And thank you everybody for joining the webinar today. So all of the webinars that we have created and had so far, and all of the ones to come, are carefully curated based on the surveys that we've carried out and your feedback when we shared these surveys with you. And some of you, even during other webinars, have talked about anxiety, especially to do with your schoolwork or even in building your businesses. And like I said, Bongo Hive X is focused on building a community of student innovators and student entrepreneurs. And so all of these sessions that we have curated for you are to help you in that journey. And like I've shared, please join us in our WhatsApp group. We're going to continue talking about this and talking about being student innovators and discussing the different topics that are shared during the webinars. If you haven't joined any of the webinars that we've had before, whether within the student series or within the main Hive webinars, you can find these on the Bongo Hive website under webinars. And we have an on-demand section. So every webinar we've had has been recorded, and then you can go back and listen and watch. And so you can do the same even with this one. So if you want to share with people in your team, with your family, please just share those by going to the Bongo Hive website. We're going to have webinars. Our next sessions are coming next week within the student series, and these are going to focus on how to monetize your hobbies, right? Which is similar to what I think, Kamota, you have done, and starting out with yoga as a hobby and then turning it into Yondi wellness. So we're going to have a few other exciting people on board to share with everybody the different hobbies they had and how they turned those into their businesses, which has also come from feedback that we got from you during the survey. But thank you everybody for joining us on this call. Thank you so much, Kamota, for taking the time out to share some of your knowledge on mindfulness and wellness with our student community. Thank you guys for being engaged. Have a lovely, lovely day.
Thank you so much, Sakai. Thank you so much, and thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.